It's not a competition of spirituality, this walk of Christianity. It's a walk of thankfulness, and the master is no greater than a servant. The last will be first, the first will be last. And Jesus washed the feet of the disciples, giving us an example of what true leadership looks like. He humbled himself even unto death. He left the heavens, and can you imagine when he's talking to the Pharisees and they're questioning him about knowing Abraham, and yet Jesus says, before Abraham I was, and they wanted to stone him. Can you imagine Jesus, who knows full well that he came from heaven and he came to his own creation, and he's the one that spoke to Abraham that he himself would come one day, and the very people that were supposed to get the message were looking at the one who they were supposed to have hope in, and the one who actually created everything we see and experience. He gets crucified in his own creation. What a wild testimony this is. There's evidence just from the cloths and the amount of blood that was on the cloth that they still have. I don't remember the name of it. He had over hundreds of wounds all over his body, and he was absolutely tortured for us. And then he took sin willingly. He voluntarily chose to be obedient unto death. So when we understand this and when we believe this, it produces nothing but gratitude in our hearts. And everything in our Christian life should come from that place where we're focused on the accomplished work of what Jesus did. So when we try and add to the gospel by our own works or our own self-righteous deeds, even though Isaiah says that even our most righteous deed is a filthy rags, it is undermining the gospel. It misuses the narrow gate. It thinks somehow the narrow gate has to do with performance, when Jesus says, I am the narrow gate. I am the only way to the Father. And so then the question is how to get through the gate, and it's through faith in him alone. And yet today in churches, although it might not be obvious, we call that more of a backloaded works-based gospel. They seek to justify themselves by their works. And another thing is when we think about the gospel, we should go to the books in the New Testament that speak about soteriology, which is the doctrine of salvation. But we don't need to go to books that don't address that topic. So the book of John, Romans, these books are going to talk about how to be saved. Romans 10 says, confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, believe in your heart that he's been raised from the dead. And then in the book of John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son, that whoever believes on him shall not perish but have eternal life. We have to believe on him. These are salvation scriptures. These narratives that are found in the Gospels are not meant to extract our assurance from. They're specifically for a teaching and a lesson, and specifically in Matthew to the Jewish audience.